For 20 years, it was the ghost in the machine of professional wrestling, the ultimate what-if whispered in hushed tones by fans in arenas and on internet forums. It was the match that wasn't just a fantasy booking, it was a clash of mythologies, the final, unwritten chapter in the tale of two dark guardians who ruled separate kingdoms. On one side, the Undertaker, the conscience of the WWE, a supernatural force of nature who claimed souls and collected championships with cold, methodical dread. On the other, Sting, the icon, the enigmatic face of WCW, a silent warrior who descended from the rafters like a vengeful angel to dispense his own brand of justice. They were two sides of the same tarnished coin, light and shadow battling within the same soul, yet they existed in parallel universes. Until now. Tonight, at the grandest stage of them all, the parallel lines don't just intersect, they collide in a cataclysm of legacy and finality. This isn't just a match, this is the end of an era. This is the answer to the question that has haunted a generation. This is The Undertaker versus Sting, the scene. The stadium is a pulsating sea of humanity, 90,000 souls screaming with an energy that feels like it could tear a hole in the fabric of reality. The air is thick with anticipation, a palpable electric hum that has been building for 2 decades. The lights suddenly die, plunging the colossal arena into an unnerving, absolute darkness. A collective gasp is sucked from the air, replaced by a chilling silence. Then, a single, haunting crow call echoes through the speakers. A lone spotlight snaps on, illuminating the highest point of the arena's rafters. And there he is, Sting. He's not the vibrant, colorful surfer Sting of old, but the grim, determined Avenger. His face is painted in its iconic black and white war paint, a stark mask of resolve. He clutches his signature black baseball bat, not as a weapon, but as a scepter of justice. The orchestral Gothic score of his theme music begins to swell, and he begins his slow, deliberate descent on a zip line, a dark seraph gliding over a sea of upturned, awe-struck faces. He lands silently on the entrance ramp, the bat resting on his shoulder, and begins his solemn march to the ring. He doesn't play to the crowd. His eyes are locked on the squared circle, a canvas where he intends to paint his final masterpiece. He enters the ring, makes a slow, 360-degree turn, and points the bat towards the entrance, a clear and unmistakable challenge. The music fades. Darkness again. The sound vibrates through every seat, a deep, resonant toll that signifies impending doom. Blue and purple smoke billows from the base of the entrance ramp, creeping along the floor like a haunted fog. Out of the smoke, druids in hooded cloaks emerge, holding flaming torches that cast long, dancing shadows. They form 2 lines, creating a path. And then he appears, the Undertaker, the dead man. He moves with an unnatural slowness, a glacier of intimidation. His long leather coat and wide-brimmed hat obscure his features, making him appear more like an apparition than a man. As he walks, flames erupt from the stage, licking at the sky with each thunderous beat of his iconic funeral dirge. The walk takes an eternity, every second designed to unnerve his opponent and enthrall the universe watching. He reaches the ring steps, ascends them as if they were the stairs to a gallows, and steps through the ropes. The lights slowly come up but remain dim, casting the ring in a spectral twilight. He removes his hat, and for the first time, his eyes are revealed. They roll back into his head, a horrifyingly familiar sight, before snapping forward to lock onto Sting. The 2 icons stand in opposite corners, the energy crackling between them like a high-voltage current. The bell has not yet rung, but the war has already begun. They move to the center of the ring, inches apart. Neither man blinks. 20 years of anticipation, of fantasy, of destiny, is distilled into this one silent, earth-shattering moment. The roar of the 90,000 fans is deafening, a physical force. Undertaker slowly raises his hand, the thumb outstretched, and makes the throat-slash gesture, a promise of the end. In response, Sting leans back and lets out a primal, "Whoa!" A battle cry that echoes through the stadium, a sound that defined a generation of WCW fans. The referee, looking like a man caught between two colliding planets, nervously calls for the bell. The match begins, but the action doesn't. They continue to stare, a tableau of wrestling royalty. They circle each other like predators, testing the air, gauging the reaction of the other. The first contact is explosive. They lock up in a collar and elbow tie-up, and it's like two mountains colliding. Neither man gives an inch. It's a stalemate of pure, unadulterated power. They break, and Sting, showing surprising speed, goes on the offensive. He unleashes a flurry of chops and punches, forcing the dead man back into the corner. He whips Undertaker to the opposite corner and follows with a thunderous Stinger splash. The crowd explodes. He goes for a second, but this time, Undertaker explodes out of the corner with a massive boot to the face that stops Sting dead in his tracks. Now, the pace shifts to the Undertaker's methodical, punishing style. He grabs Sting by the arm, twisting it with brutal torque. He ascends the ropes, the crowd rising with him, anticipating the legendary old school. But Sting is ready. He yanks his arm down, and the Undertaker crashes hard onto the top turnbuckle. Sting sees his opening, climbing to the second rope and delivering a massive superplex. He hooks the leg. 1, 2. The Undertaker throws him off with startling force. The fight spills to the outside. This is the Undertaker's yard, and he uses the environment like a weapon. He slams Sting's head into the announce table, clearing it of monitors. He signals for the last ride, intending to send Sting to hell through the table. But Sting slides out the back, shoving Undertaker forward, and the dead man smashes face first into the steel ring post. Dazed, Taker stumbles. Sting slides back into the ring, grabs his baseball bat, and returns to the outside. The crowd buzzes. Is he going to do it? The referee pleads with him, but Sting ignores him. He stalks the groggy Undertaker, raises the bat high, and then stops. He looks at the weapon, then at his opponent, and throws the bat away. A look of grim honor crosses his face. He's not winning this way. He will beat the legend, not cripple the man. This moment of honor costs him. As he turns back, Undertaker has recovered, grabbing him by the throat. Chokeslam. Not in the ring, but on the unforgiving edge of the ring apron. Sting's body makes a sickening thud as he bounces off the hardest part of the ring and crumples to the floor. Undertaker rolls him back into the ring, covers him with one foot on the chest in a sign of ultimate disrespect. 1, 2. Sting gets a shoulder up. The arena is in disbelief. Frustration begins to show on the Undertaker's face. He signals for the tombstone pile driver. This is it. The move that has buried countless legends. He hoists Sting up, positioning him for the final nail in the coffin. But Sting isn't done. He begins hammering punches into Undertaker's back, forcing the dead man to lose his grip. Sting slides down, spins around, and hits a picture-perfect scorpion death drop. The stadium erupts. Sting crawls for the cover. 1, 2. The Undertaker's shoulder shoots off the mat at 2.9 seconds. Now it's Sting's turn to register shock. He sits up, his war paint smeared with sweat, and stares at the referee, his eyes wide with disbelief. He knows what he has to do. He grabs the Undertaker's legs, steps over him, and locks in the scorpion deathlock. He wrenches back, applying immense pressure to the dead man's spine right in the center of the ring. The Undertaker's face is a mask of agony. He's miles from the ropes. The crowd is screaming, some for him to tap, some for him to endure. His hand is raised, shaking, threatening to tap the mat and end the war. But he doesn't. Inch by painful inch, fueled by a force that defies human explanation, he begins to crawl. He drags Sting with him, his fingers clawing at the canvas until, finally, they grasp the bottom rope. The hold is broken. Both men are spent. They use the ropes to pull themselves to their feet, meeting in the center of the ring on unsteady legs. They begin to trade blows. A right hand from Sting, a right from Taker, Back and forth they unload, each punch fueled by the last dregs of their energy and 20 years of waiting. The crowd roars with every impact. A woo for every strike from Sting, a boo for every strike from Undertaker. Neither man will fall. They are two ancient redwoods, refusing to timber. Finally, a haymaker from Taker staggers Sting, and a desperate clothesline from Sting sends both men crashing to the canvas in a heap. They are both down. The referee begins his 10 count. 1, 2. The arena is silent, watching. 3, 4. Neither man stirs. 5, 6. This cannot be the way it ends. 7. A flicker of movement from both men. 8. They are on their hands and knees, glaring at each other through swollen eyes. They rise simultaneously, two phoenixes from the ashes of their own exhaustion. Undertaker grins a demonic grin. He makes the throat slash gesture again, this time with a definitive finality. He grabs Sting, hooks the arms, and lifts him for the tombstone piledriver. He holds him there, poised, ready to drive him into oblivion. The crowd holds its breath. But as he prepares for the final drop, a shocking thing happens. The Undertaker's knees buckle. The cumulative damage, the sheer physical toll of the war, has finally overcome him. He collapses backward, sending Sting tumbling over him. Both men lie motionless, side by side, completely and utterly spent. The referee, seeing that neither man can continue, has no choice. He begins the 10 count for a double knockout. This is the only possible conclusion to a war between two immovable forces. 1, 2, 3. The crowd counts along, a funereal chant for their heroes. 4, 5, 6. Sting's fingers begin to twitch. He's searching for something, anything. 7, 8. The Undertaker is motionless, a fallen monument. Sting's hand finds the bottom rope. With every ounce of will left in his soul, he begins to pull. His body is broken, but his spirit refuses to yield. 9. As the referee's hand is about to slap the mat for the 10th time, Sting, using the rope as his only support, pulls himself to a standing position. He sways on his feet, barely conscious, but he is standing. The referee's hand hits the mat. He looks at the fallen Undertaker, and then at the barely standing Sting, and he points to the victor. The bell rings, and the stadium is momentarily stunned into silence before erupting into a confused, emotional roar. Sting's music hits, but he doesn't celebrate. He collapses against the ropes, his chest heaving, looking down at the legendary figure he has just defeated. He won not with a finisher, not with a pinfall, but by simply being the last man standing. The shock is not in the victory, but in the image. The Undertaker, the Phenom, has been counted out. He was not beaten by a move. He was beaten by mortality itself. Medics slowly and respectfully place the Undertaker on a stretcher. It seems to be an ignominious end for the legend, but as they prepare to wheel him out, the lights go out. The lights flash back on. The stretcher is empty. The medics are bewildered. And in the center of the ring, the Undertaker is sitting up. The crowd loses its collective mind. He slowly gets to his feet, the pain and exhaustion etched on his face. Sting, still leaning on the ropes, turns to face him, his baseball bat now in his hand, ready for the fight to continue. But the Undertaker doesn't advance. He doesn't look angry. He looks respectful. He walks to the corner of the ring, picks up his hat and coat, and puts them on. He turns one last time to face Sting. He looks the icon dead in the eye and gives a slow, single, deliberate nod, a sign of ultimate respect, acknowledgement. He has finally met his equal. Then, the Undertaker turns his back, walks up the ramp, and disappears into the mist from whence he came, leaving 20 years of questions answered in the ring. Sting is left alone, the victor. He lifts his baseball bat to the sky, not in triumph, but in a salute to his fallen, respected adversary. The dream match is over, and it ended not with a bang of finality, but with a quiet, profound acknowledgement that legends never truly die. They just pass the torch in the twilight.